First name's Mike, last name's Deen, D-E-E-N.
So Mike, you have a house here.
I do have a condo here in Horseshoe.
Tell me your thoughts about the storm.
It actually one of the worst storms that I have seen in my 67 years of living in the state of Florida and actually working storms when employed by the Sheriff's Office in Marion County that I've been exposed to. Mainly because the worst part was the water, the surge, and that's where the biggest part of the destruction came from.
So did you ever think you'd see this little town of Horseshoe look like this?
I wanted to think no. I've actually had the place here about 3.5 years now, but after working the previous storms that we've had over the last decade and seeing what's going on, and with the Sheriff's Office sending response teams just as they just did yesterday up to Madison, yes, it was just a matter of time that we were going to see something like this. Pretty much anything here, or as building wise and all, if it wasn't on a stilt or a pole, it didn't survive with. And that's a lot of the destruction you see. There was quite a few buildings that were basically on the ground or very close to the ground.
Wow, that's incredible. So you said that you knew a couple people that rented out here, right?
I was actually told it would be hearsay, but there was supposedly on the grapevine a couple people, yes, that did write it out.
Did you hear of any type of injury? I mean, non-officially, unofficially, did you hear of anyone that
I hadn't heard any injuries, period.
Yeah.
And that's really the blessing. I don't think, even as bad as it is here, I don't think it's quite as bad as it could have been. And, but it's basically, yes, it's destroyed this little town. But bottom line, the people in this little town, it's still one of our rural communities of the state of Florida and all. They're already coming together. They will work together to build. They won't wait on necessarily government to get in here to do their thing, even though they've been here. And they'll start putting this place back together. They're just that kind of family-oriented working people.
What's the response from the government been like so far?
Been a lot of FEMA people in here, familiar with them and all. I'm pretty sure when the caravan came through the day that the governor was here, I only saw the cars and all with troopers and FHP and the game department and several others. So I'm positive that he did a tour today. But it's been good, just getting the start and all, but it's always that way. Sometimes it's hard to put it together in the beginning. The Horseshoe City Council and all, they were first out here talking to us this morning to see what we need hauling debris out. These trailers and equipment sitting over here actually belongs to my son. And there's pretty much been a major cleanup on this piece of property here today. Most of it's gone at this point. Now, there's a lot of damage to the building that's going to take a contractor to fix and that sort of thing, but trying to get this debris out of the way and help anybody we can that's struggling.
So you're a retired sheriff, right?
Retired.
The sheriff.
I retired, not the sheriff, I was a captain with the Marion County Sheriff's Office.
Okay. So you've seen a lot throughout the years, I'm sure. A lot of death, a lot of life, a lot of destruction.
A lot more than I'd care to talk about.
Yeah. Would you mind just showing us around a little bit and giving us your thoughts on a couple of things?
Not at all.
That'd be awesome.
You want to go take a shot of his equipment?
Sure.
He called me last night asking what we needed over here, and I said, of course, we didn't know what we needed over here. And but anyway, he said, well, I'm going to be ready to go in the morning, and he said, we're going to take a couple guys off his crew and some of his equipment, which is sitting here, and they've actually already, with the skid steer and the dump trailer, already hauled about 6 loads out of here this afternoon.
Oh, wow.
And luckily the landfill's fairly close here, and Dixie County was quick to respond to the needs and kind of change the way they do business up there, but allowing us to dump there. And I'm sure FEMA and the county government will come together and figure out where it goes to Cross City or whatever down the road.
Right.
But where the water came in during the storm is a house across the street here that literally a lot of people, actually thousands of people, have seen this residence and all, but the water was so high coming up because it's on the front shoreline and all, that at times you could barely, when the waves were up, you could barely even see daylight between the bottom of the house and the top line of the channel there.
Wow, let's go look at that house.
Okay, right across the
Yeah.
street. We're gonna have to wait. Let's go this way. This one here is actually mine.
So how high do you think the water got right here?
That is the one thing that we've been trying to determine amongst us today with the work crews and all. And without putting a tape on it, I'm saying we're probably 20 feet here. I'm positive, due to broke water lines over here, that because of the debris hitting the lines and all, because when they turned the water on today, all this went to leaking. So we're somewhere at a minimum of here with stuff and debris floating around in here, and could have actually been higher. The key is we're a little bit higher than this house across the street that we're going to look at and all, and we've got a little more when it comes to the purlins and all that it sits on. It's a little higher than the house across the street because this is an older house that's been redone.
Gotcha.
Actually, to the point, this tree is leaning in this wet ground, and it's actually probably come down a foot or so lower, which makes me wonder if it's going to be able to last and not come out of the ground due to the weight being distributed all on one side.
Yeah. So this tree didn't used to lean like this?
Did not lean this much. You could not reach up there and touch those limbs on the sidewalk over there, which you can walk over and touch now. We noticed that today while we was working to keep an eye on it.
Wow.
This is actually a house that belongs to a friend of my son's, and the water did touch the bottom of the house here as it was coming in. Luckily enough, it doesn't appear that they've got any water in the house, and that they're going to be able to secure it and put it back in operation.
So the water, just point over there. Let's walk over here to give it some scale. You want to just stand right there by the piling.
Okay.
Show them how high the water got on this thing.
The water actually hit the bottom of that piling there from time to time, depending on what the wind gust and the waves coming in. Now, what did happen, the boathouse next door did quite well, but there was two houses, rental houses down here on the other side. They have both been washed out to sea, apparently.
Rental houses, gone.
The foundations are right down here.
Wow.
About where that van is, that Red Cross van is right now. Yeah. A little bit of the roofing material and all showed up under the condo, but the majority of it washed out to sea.
That's wild.
This first one here was a wood frame house. The foundation's on a wood frame house. It's been there probably 30 years or so. But a solid enough house and all. And typical of the houses were built in this area back in, that time frame and all. The next house over where the foundation's a little stronger that you can see there and all, and a little higher and all, that was a block house. But wood house and block house, the water was so bad that it took both of them out.
Wow. So you wouldn't have wanted to be right there.
I would not want to be there. As a deputy sheriff that's been in numerous storms over the years, I can't stress when someone knocks on your door, says the storm's coming, the surge is coming and all, you need to leave. You can always replace a building and property, this, that, and other, but you can't replace yourself or your family's life or whatever. There comes a time not to be there, and this was actually one of those times. And the community, other than a couple people, everybody pretty much abide by that and got out prior to the storm getting here. What I really like is this little clip to make people think about what they're getting into and really look at it, make smart choices, and keep them and their families safe and not put themselves in jeopardy with Mother Nature, because you will not win.
Perfect.